we? How are we? Hello, everyone. What is up? And welcome back to another deadline stream. Game week 26 is here. The first week after a few, we're going to have a little bit more peace and quiet. We don't have any doubles. We don't have too much to plan for. It feels like a slightly quieter week of FPL. So we'll discuss all of that. We'll go through everything. Usual, we'll talk about the assistant manager. We'll talk about my stuff. We'll talk about, there's not much of my stuff to talk about really, to be honest, but we'll do everything we usually do. Before we do that, let's say hello to everyone in the chat. If you are in, please do drop a hello. Let me know where in the world you are as well, because I have a little story. This is probably going to be one of the more sketchy streams I think I've ever done. So for anyone who doesn't know, I'm on holiday. And anyone who didn't watch my final decisions video, there seems to be a trend of people going around this hotel knocking on each other's doors, including ours, which is very enjoyable. It hasn't happened yet today, but it has happened every day since Wednesday. So that was Wednesday, Thursday, and it happened several times over the course of about an hour. So we've got that. I'm streaming on like the hotel room telly, which has about 4 pixels on the screen, so I can hardly... Is my t-shirt disappearing? Why is my t-shirt disappearing? It's black. That shouldn't be happening anyway. It's not a green screen. It should be fine. And the other thing is, the Wi-Fi is also not fast enough, so I'm streaming via the 5G that I have on my phone. So all in all, we're in for a really smooth stream, I'm sure. The good thing is, I don't have much to do with my team, but we'll talk about that all in a moment. Hello to Gavin, hello to Luke, hello to Jack, hello to E7, hello to Thomas, hello to Tracer, hello to Immortal, hello to Gavin, hello to Jordan, hello to James, hello to all the members and moderators in. Thank you all very much for your support on the channel. Hello Mark, Cyan, Ahmed, Dubious, Ayan, Jack, Near, Jerome, Sam, Saket, Sayer, who knows, Tagarat, Faisal, Standard Name, George, Andre, Thomas, FPL Boss, A, Joe, Sam, Mukaka, Turtle, Sun, Luke, Rise, Andy, James, J Laws, Martins, Crypto FPL, Sai, Ben, and everyone else in. Hello, hello. Welcome to the stream. We have... What's that? An hour and 40 minutes. The volume is too low. It's because my mic's in a different position. Is the mic really low? Is it really low for everyone? Do I need to try and fix that? Do I need to try and fix that? Yes, I probably do. Noise gain. I have no idea how to fix that. Yes, I do. Look at this. Hello. Hello. There we go. There we go. I've put it up. Now it's probably blown everyone's ears off. Anyway, in terms of my team for this weekend, we have... the other thing is I often shout during my streams, and while I'm in a hotel, I think it's best that is probably not the case, that I don't go singing Arnie Slot's name over and over again. But, yeah. Probably best for this stream that I just turn it up so it's a little bit easier, so I don't have to shout at you all. So yeah, in terms of my team, it's pretty straightforward for me this week. I'm going to roll my transfer. Ahmad is the only transfer out I would consider this week, but I just don't really know where to go with the Dango Atara. Well, not really the Dango Atara news, with the Evan Nielsen update that he is not that far away. It does concern me a little bit going and buying Dango Atara, and you'll see that in my players to buy, he's actually dropped below Semenyo now. You should be fine if you're going to wildcard probably 30, 31. You might start to have a bit of a problem with him. So anyone who saw my final decisions video will know that I'm planning on a wildcard probably later, probably game week 35 or so. And if that is the case, I will probably have an issue with Dango Ouattara playing up front. Now, he will still probably start. He'll probably go back to the left wing. Semenya will go back to the right wing, and we'll see Evan Nilsson up front. But it's just not as good for Dango as it would have been. So that puts me off as a late wildcarder going for Dango Ouattara. He probably will not be the replacement for Ahmad that I buy. I might still buy Semenya. I think I have exact money to still do that. So let's see how this weekend goes. But I don't need the replacement this week, right? Ahmad is just going to sit first, or just going to sit on my bench. I don't actually need the replacement next week either. So it's more a value thing. Like, I can hold Ahmad basically until game week 29, and that's about the only time that I'm going to start to need that spot in my team. So I'm not certain if I'm going to go and even sell Ahmad going into game week 27. We'll have to wait. He'll probably go by 28, but I don't have a priority need to sell him. And I don't have an obvious decision of who I'm going to buy in his place. So that's where we're at with my team. Captaincy is on Mo Salah. Vice captain is on Brian Mbeumo. Pretty comfortable with that. I don't think that's going to change. The only thing that potentially could change would be Isak vice captain over Mbeumo, but realistically, I'm not going to change that on the stream. So my team is pretty much locked in theory. For those of you who like the bench, so you could start Ahmad over any of those. Like, I could start Ahmad over one of those. That's something that I might do. But yeah, my team is pretty set for the game week. Play Diaz or get a better pick. If you're not going to buy Kluivert or you're not going to buy Brian Mbeumo, I would probably just play Luis Diaz this week away at Manchester City. We've all seen that City defence try and defend over the past few weeks. I think Liverpool will get chances, which is why Mo Salah will be my captain. I just think they'll get enough chances, and which is why I'm not that confident that you should be selling Arne Slot if you own him. So if you've got Arne Slot, I've said this, I would sell Arne Slot. I wouldn't sell Arne Slot or Unai Emery for a hit. I wouldn't sell them if you're going to Arteta. I would only sell them if you're going to a table bonus manager, in which Glasner, looking like a fully fit Crystal Palace team, is the one that I would go to. Who to play, Palmer or Wanyeri? Palmer, definitely. Castagna or Hall or Williams. Think I'd play Lewis Hall out of all of those. Fulham Wind, I mean, I'll be hoping it. It feels like that'll be where the biggest amount of assistant managers go this week, will probably be to Glasner. So I'll just be hoping that Fulham don't lose, because that'll be a big swing in terms of me this week. Like, I've battled against assistant managers for 2 weeks now. The first week I did it with the triple captain. This week I did it because I got lucky with Ollie Watkins over Gakpo. And this week I feel like I don't have that. I feel like this will be the week where the assistant manager chip that so many people have got active will hit me. But yeah, I will take that one on the chin, given that I've had 2 weeks of people playing the assistant manager where it has done little to actually no damage. Like, going into that week where everyone started playing it and I played my triple captain, I've gone, feel like I've gone from 38k to 13k. So even if it knocks me down to 25k this week, like, I'm still massively up whilst everyone is playing the assistant manager. So yeah, I'm happy with where we are. But I am appreciating that the assistant managers, I'll be very reliant on the favourites winning football matches this week. So Leicester not winning, Ipswich not winning, and Palace not winning will probably be the top 3 assistant managers. So with those of you asking about the assistant manager chip, Glasner is my preferred if I was going for a table bonus. And the other thing to remember is if you played 25 assistant manager, in 27, Crystal Palace have Villa at home. And that is a midweek. And we know how tired Villa can get when they play a lot of fixtures. And that might be a table bonus game. We don't know definitely. It will require some results at this weekend. But I probably would be looking at either Glasner or I think it's, is it Iraola or the Brighton manager as well, potentially has table bonus at home to, I think, is it them who've got it next week? Brighton. Brighton have got Bournemouth at home, so you could have table bonus there. You could have table bonus there if you're carrying it through to 27. Wolves, you could go. They could have it. I think it's unlikely, though. Yeah, I mean, Spurs, City, but you're probably not going Spurs this week anyway. So, yeah, it probably is Glasner, especially if you're assistant manager 25, because of that fixture. So, Gakpo to Cunha and bench Rodgers Wood, or roll and just bench Gakpo. This is probably the most asked question that I've had all week. Would I do Gakpo out and bench Rodgers? So I would play Wood over Rodgers. So that's the first thing. Would I sell Gakpo to Cunha or just play Rodgers? I would probably do the transfer because I think Cunha is the one you'll want regardless. I don't think Cunha is that much better than Rodgers this week, though. I think it's pretty close. But if you've seen me post, I also think there's a doubt for Gakpo playing in game week 28, which is the Southampton at home game, because of the spacing that they have for Champions Leagues. They play Wednesday, then they play Southampton on the Saturday, and then they play Tuesday in the Champions League, and it is PSG. So PSG away, Southampton at home, PSG at home, and then on the Sunday, they play the Carabao Cup final against Newcastle. I think that Southampton at home game will be a bit of a concern. The only thing to note is that they have a free midweek before because they're no longer in the FA Cup. But I just think that Southampton at home game, like Darwin will start. I'm almost certain that he'll start that, and then someone else will take up the other forward spot. I mean, it might be that Chiesa starts, right? But if they continue dropping points, they may not even take that risk. But it would probably be enough for me to push that if Gakpo's not going to start, if he's a doubt for City, and even if he's back for Southampton, you don't know he's going to play it. That's 2 doubtful starts in 3 and then a blank. I would just get rid of, I'd be looking to get rid of Gakpo. Diaz is a slightly more difficult one because you're almost certain that Diaz is going to start. I'd be surprised if Diaz doesn't. So I probably would be less inclined unless you want to go to an Mbermo or a Kluivert. If you don't want to go for those two, I probably would keep hold of Luis Diaz. Why is no one talking about Anthony Gordon? Anthony Gordon's ownership is quite low now. With the blank coming up and with the fixture they've got, it does feel like he's a reasonable sell or bench just because his returns have not been explosive enough as well. So, yeah, that's probably why there's not loads of talk about Anthony Gordon. Sorry, every time, because of what's happened, every time like a door opens or a door closes or there's like a knocking on a door, I'm like on edge. I'm like, what is this going on? I'm coming home tomorrow. I've had a fantastic holiday, but I could do without the constant knocking on people's doors. Skiing favourite, Red Runs, Après, work. So Sponge, I know you love Après. I am not a big Apréer. I get too tired because I ski a lot. So A, probably. There was a question I missed. Rodgers and João Pedro. So João Pedro's an interesting one. I don't think João Pedro is going to start. I'd be surprised if he starts. If you've got João Pedro or Gakpo, I'd play João Pedro over Gakpo, but I'd be surprised if João Pedro starts. Rodgers and João Pedro to Semenyo and Visa with 2 free transfers would mean benching Wood and sticking assistant manager slot. Currently looking at wildcard 30-31. I mean, Rodgers and Pedro probably both are more important than moving slots. So, yes, I probably would do that. Justin, yes, I probably would. Who to start? Mikalenko, Trent, Robinson, Munoz. So, the benching ranking is filled in. It is complete. It'll be up in the top right-hand corner for you all in just a moment. It has all of those players ranked. And I would probably be benching Robinson in that. Robinson or Mikalenko, probably actually Mikalenko, especially because there's a lot of ownership in Pickford as well. Batty, thank you for joining as a top tier member. Drop me a message on Instagram or Twitter and I'll get you added to the WhatsApp and everything else that you need to be in as well. Would I hold Gakpo for Southampton? I personally wouldn't. That's 26, 27, not great fitness wise, not great fixtures, and then you're not even certain he plays Southampton because of the PSG games before and after as well. So no Wanyeri in my benching ranking. Would I bench Rodgers or Wanyeri? I'd play Wanyeri over Rodgers, yeah. Haaland for 29 is something I'm considering. considering, it would be Palmer, Watkins to Haaland, and a cheap midfielder would probably be the way around that I'd go. Yeah, it's either Watkins, it's either Haaland or it's Marmoush. I'm almost certain that Watkins will go in 29 because he blanks to one of the City forwards. It's whether I go Haaland and I sell Palmer, or I go with Marmoush in that spot. That's basically what I've got to decide. Because I'm wildcarding probably later, I do need some City cover, but I do also want to hold on to Mo Salah. I think Salah is a better hold than Palmer is. One of those two would have to go for me to get Haaland, I think. I could do it with Trent, but I think I'd really be forcing a sort of threemium. I haven't actually looked if I can do it with Trent. Watkins to Haaland, how much would I have to... I'd still way short. Like Brown and Burmo would have to go. Isak would... Yeah, I don't have nearly enough. So yeah, it's one of those that would have to go. It's one of those. If I wanted to get Haaland. But that's a plan for 29. João Pedro to Visa or just start Rodgers and roll. I'd probably just start Visa away at Leicester. If you know Visa's the one you want, I'd go Visa. If you think you might go Cunha, then I'd wait. But I probably... Yeah, I probably prefer Cunha for the long term over Visa, but I wouldn't be. If you know Visa's all you can afford, then I would just go there. Visa, Cunha, and Burmo, Palmer, Dango, Kluivert, bench 1. Well, the Bournemouth guys start, and Burmo starts, Palmer starts. It's Cunha or Visa, and I don't think you can bench Visa against Leicester, so it probably has to be Cunha away at Bournemouth. So either Cunha or Dango, probably, looking at that list. Cunha or Dango. Probably Cunha. Cunha versus Dango. Cunha on penalties and Wolves do look improved. Maybe you bench Dango and you just play one Bournemouth midfielder. Probably hedge your bets a little bit, would probably be my advice. Hedging. How do I plan to play through Game Week 29 and Assistant Manager 31? Good question. So I have a Game Week 26 transfer, Game Week 27, 28, 29. So I have 4 free transfers. I will sell Ahmad. I will sell Watkins. I will probably sell Trent. And I might sell Palmer. And I'll probably play a 4-4-2. It won't be my best ever week of FPL. But I'll look at something like that to potentially get Haaland in. Palmer will only go if I need to get Haaland in. If it's Marmoush, then I'll probably roll that last transfer. I'll probably keep Munoz because he's got the double. Although it's not a great double, so it could just be Trent that I keep. I'll keep Salah. I'll keep Isak. So Isak will stay. Salah will stay. And one of Trent or Munoz will stay. Probably. And then, yeah, Assistant Manager, Game Week 31 is the plan. Just because, yeah, I still got it. So I think Assistant Manager 31 to 33, free hit 34, wildcard, some point between 35 and the end of the season. It's possible that I end up wildcarding 37. And this is something I'll talk about in a chip strategy video in a couple of weeks. But we don't need to worry about that now. It's 35 or later is the current plan. And I know people will say, Harry, Game Week 37 wildcard is crazy. The only reason it would be 37, just to go into it, is because the FA Cup final in Game Week 37 could cause blanks in 37 and doubles in 36. So I could use loads of transfers to buy loads of players who double in 36 and then wildcard in 37 to sell those players. It's a possibility depending on how the FA Cup goes. If I want to do something like that, I'd need Man United to go far in the FA Cup, which you can say what you want about how far you think Manchester United are going to go in the FA Cup and in the Europa League as well. Yes, apologies. So Emery to Glasner, Gakpo to Cunha, both for a -4. I don't think selling Emery to Glasner is worth a hit unless you're really chasing rank. But even then, I would probably just favour Gakpo to Cunha. Sponge. I just don't think Emery to Glasner, unless you can bench Gakpo this week, I definitely wouldn't do it for a hit. And if it forces a hit for 29 anyway, then no. Yeah, you did win the FA Cup last year, but I would say you've showed more form last year than you have done over the past 4 months. But that's coming from a Chelsea fan who is crashing out of all competitions at the moment. Start Jota or Rodgers? Rodgers. Don't think Jota necessarily starts. Too much doubt there. I feel so on edge. Gakpo and Ahmad out for Cunha and Mbermo for a -4. I don't know who you've got on your bench. I probably would do it. Like I've said, I don't think there's much worth a -4 this week. And I probably don't think Gakpo to Cunha is worth a hit if you've got someone decent on your bench. But if it's going to be a hit before 29 anyway, Ruben, I probably would just do it. Would I go with Iraola for free? No. If I was going for a non-table bonus manager, it would be Arteta, predicted to score the most points. But yeah, I would, if I was using a transfer from Slot, from Emery, from Moyes, from anyone, it would be to a table bonus manager, or I wouldn't bother. Gakpo home game next. He's a monster at home. Keep. Yeah, but let's say he doesn't play that. He plays Newcastle and he doesn't start Southampton. It's just not a good hold. Even if that you look at that specific fixture. But yeah. Haven't used the assistant manager chip yet. How should I plan? I think 31 until 33 will be best. If not, 36 to 38 will probably be the other two opportunities that you have, unless you just play it at a random time. But those are probably the next two. They're the other two that I'm considering. It says 31 is most likely for me. I'd be surprised if it's not 31 now. Holiday is lovely, thank you. I come home tomorrow. Videos will be back to normal on Sunday. The mic will be back in shot. You'll all be glad to hear. You'll get to see more of the mic. And then we've got a Tuesday deadline. So we'll be thick and fast. We'll have a Sunday, Monday and Tuesday video before a Tuesday deadline stream, I think. So yes, I'll fly home tomorrow afternoon, but I've had a great time. Thank you. Your Gakpo is your route to Haaland. So that's the other thing. If that Gakpo spot is your Haaland route, then maybe you do keep him, because you could go, there's no real point going Gakpo to Cunha to try and get Haaland, because you've not got, you're not going to get Cunha for the Southampton fixture, which is part of the reason to buy him. But Trent to Gabriel or Hall to Timber or Stand. I wouldn't do Trent to Gabriel. Hall to Timber I'd prefer, but I wouldn't sell Trent. Would I sell Gakpo for Marmoush or Cunha and play 3 up front with Wood and Isak, or go Wood and Isak 5-man midfield? Your midfield is too strong to be benching someone, Simon. So in that situation, I probably wouldn't sell Gakpo this week and just give yourself an extra bit of information. Simon, I appreciate it. Hope you're all good. Slots to McKenna, Rodgers to Dango, 2 free transfers or roll. If you're chasing rank, then yes. Rodgers to Dango I would do if you're going to wildcard in 30 or 31. Slot to McKenna I would do if you're chasing rank. I prefer the Palace manager, but it's pretty close. Necker Williams for Van den Berg in 29. Potentially. There might be triple Bournemouth in 29 if they're predicted to get a double in 33 is going to be way more important than maybe a Forest defender, because their fixtures are not great even from that point. If you're buying in 30, Man United's okay, Villa away, Everton, but that Everton is a double for other teams. 33 is likely a double for other teams, and then you're probably going to free hit 34. So yeah, that's where we're at. Probably won't be a priority for many people, Forest, from 30, unless they get a potential double in 33. If they go far in the FA Cup. When to play bench boost, free hit, assistant manager, wildcard, 4 out for game week 29, 0.2 in the bank, Ahmad to who? So you've just played with triple captain. So yeah, assistant manager 31 to 33, free hit 34, wildcard 35, and then after bench boost. Nonsense, your question. Currently have 6 players, including goalkeeper, Henderson, Fabianski, that blank in 29, and 2 transfers available. Would I free hit game week 29 and go Gakpo to Mateta? Probably not. I think 6 is pretty easy to get by with. Yeah, with 2 free transfers, I would do Gakpo to someone else. And I wouldn't force the goalkeeper transfer until you know it's an issue. Like, you might get to 29 and go, and Fabianski's in, because Areola does get injured, but yeah. Who to sell Gakpo for? You have 3.9 in the bank. Well, Cunha, or if you're going to free at 29, then it will be Mateta. Start Mikalenko or do João Pedro to Beto for free. I do João Pedro to Beto for free. I mean, you could take the chance that João Pedro starts, but I wouldn't be fancying my chances, if I'm honest. I don't think he's going to start. I think it'll be the same front four again. It could be if he wants to rest someone for their game midweek, is the only thing. Who do they play? Bournemouth at home. Like, there's a chance that I'd go Cunha over Marmoush. Like, there's a chance that they rest one of them for Bournemouth at home on Tuesday, is the only thing on João Pedro. But I don't think he starts. Emery and Gakpo to Glasner and Cunha for -4. Emery, assistant managers out are not worth a hit in my eyes, unless you're chasing rank drastically. But yeah, I really wouldn't. I don't think I'd do that. I'd just do Gakpo to Cunha probably. Or Emery to Glasner if you can bench Gakpo and you've got enough players for 29 already. But if the manager if the manager transfer will force a hit by game week 29, then I wouldn't. Kepa or Pickford. That is close. Probably Pickford, to be honest. Which chip would I advise you to use between wildcard and managing the assistant manager? I wouldn't use either this week. This is not a good week to use either of those chips. I'd save all your chips until after game week 30, unless you're free hitting in game week 29. Hold Arnie Slot or get Arteta or Glasner in. Again, on the assistant managers, if the moving on the assistant manager, I wouldn't buy a table bone. I would only buy a table bones manager. I wouldn't buy Arteta. And I would only do it if it doesn't force a hit between now and game week 29. If it does, I don't think it's worth it. Front seven, all penalty takers. If Watkins is on pens. Which I don't know if it's actually a good thing or a bad thing for Watkins to be their penalty taker for me. Because he's not very good at them. I realise we are... I don't even know how long we're into the stream. We have an hour and 15 to go to the deadline. If you haven't dropped a like, please could you do? And also subscribe if you are new. I realise while I'm streaming from very poor lighting and everything, I haven't actually checked that the stream looks okay. Let me do that on my phone. Who to bench? Wanyeri, Isak, Wood or Cunha? Wanyeri versus Cunha is really close. I'd probably just play Cunha given he's on pens. Yeah. After this week, Risa leaves for Cunha. I think that's fair. Keep him for the Southampton game. Yeah. Keep him for the Southampton game. Would I take a -4 to get Dango? No, I don't think so. You take Moyes to Glasner for a hit? No, I wouldn't sell any manager for a -4. Stream looks normal. That's good to know. That's why I bring all my stuff. I've got my massive green screen that goes in my suitcase. You don't even know the mess that's going on behind it as we tried to pack in about an hour earlier. Would I transfer out Slot for Glasner and start Rodgers, or leave Slot and transfer out Rodgers for Kluivert? Again, it probably depends on what it does for your team in 29. I would say I'd rather Kluivert, especially if the assistant manager move forces a hit between now and 29, then I wouldn't do it. If you had to make a transfer this week, free of charge, what would it be? If I had to make a transfer this week, I'd sell Ahmad. That's really boring. But I'd do Ahmad to probably Semenyo. If I was buying a Bournemouth bid now, for me, it would be Semenyo. Just because of... just because of potential late wildcard being an issue for Dango Atara. You will have also noticed that, well, you may have noticed that price changes are going very slowly at the moment. I think they are, I don't quite know what's going on. It's like they've changed their algorithm, and they're now really slowing down what it takes to have, what it takes for prices to change. It's really weird. I can't quite explain it, but all the price changes, like Live FPL have been tweeting about it, like they don't quite know what's going on. They've basically just changed it massively. Who to replace Gordon? Already have 4 mids or 3 strikers. Have my 4 mids and 3 strikers. Then I'd probably just bench Gordon, to be honest. If you've got that, then you can just bench him and think about it next week. Like, there might be an injury which suddenly makes someone a really good option, or the player you're looking to buy might get injured. It's not worth forcing it. Like, there's no reason for me to sell Ahmad to someone if I don't know. Yeah, so there's no reason to force a transfer for someone on your bench if you're in a similar situation to me. That's why I'm not going to sell Ahmad. I think Ahmad to Semenyo is the most likely. Just because the Man United Bournemouth double in game week 33 is just very likely, because they have because Bournemouth and Man United play each other in game week 34, and all it needs is one of them to reach that round of the FA Cup for it to force a probable double. So I would probably want double Bournemouth mids for a double including Man United and Wolves. So I would say Ahmad to Semenyo is my most likely. You quite like the look of Bowen. Yeah, he's just slightly more expensive. Bowen's always been one for the past couple of seasons that the price makes it a little bit more difficult. If he was 6.5, okay, that's probably 6 is cheap, right? If he was 6.5, I think it would be a big conversation a lot of the time. He's just a little bit too expensive for us to be going and buying. People wanting to drop Palmer, it's not one I'm going to recommend personally. I just think Villa, after they play midweek, especially when it's a big game, I wouldn't want to be benching Palmer against that Villa team, particularly with their defence. Disasi also can't play as well. Gakpo to Mateta, what's my opinion? I'd only do it if you're free hitting 29. If you're not free hitting 29, you can't really buy Mateta, as well as he might do in the 3 weeks between now and then. I wouldn't be doing that. Cunha or Wisa for Gakpo. If it's only for this week, I prefer Visa, but long term, I prefer Cunha, definitely. Like over the next 3 weeks, I would definitely go Cunha over Visa. Semenyo, Cunha, Dango, who to bench? By the way, Man United's draw in Europe looks tough. It does. Real Sociedad, yes. Let's see what happens. For my wildcard 35, I could do with Man United getting far in the FA Cup and in Europe as well. I think, though, if they... if they do beat Real Sociedad, they're likely to play Lyon. They could have been up being in that top left corner. But yeah. Yeah. Man United with no strikers and no wingers up against the best not injured defensive midfielder in the world in Zubimendi. Yeah, I mean, they could easily crash out there. But yeah, best midfielder, Bournemouth midfielder, and why is Kluivert. Dango Atara's minutes up front look slightly less secure going forward because of the update on Evan Nielsen, and Kluivert feels just better than Semenyo. Hope you're doing well. I'm good. I did Gakpo to Cunha, but still have Ahmad. From -4, do I sell him? You have Robinson or Sarr on the bench. I mean, you're going to have to sell Sarr regardless. Yes, I probably would. And it doesn't look like you have Kluivert either. So in that situation, I would do Ahmad to Kluivert for a hit, yeah. Gakpo to Visa for a hit, no. I'd be very surprised if that is your best long-term move. No. The Evan Nilsson update was just that he is close. And from the actual listening to the quote, it sounds quite positive. You're probably not looking at game week 26, 27. I wouldn't worry about that. You're probably even not looking at game week 28. You might be looking at game week 29. You're probably looking more like game week 30, which comes in actually quite a long time. The spacing of games gets quite long because we've got a couple of FA Cup weekends, right? So game week 30 is not for a month and a half. And if he's saying that his player is close and there's a game in a month and a half, you'd probably expect a player who's close now to be back playing football in a month and a half, right? You might get away because that's only 3 weeks away. But it would probably be enough to put me off, especially because I'm going to wildcard later. Sorry, that double would include Palace and United. Sorry, not Wolves and United, if they double in 33. Would I rather win FPL or Chelsea win the treble? The treble. That question is always asked. Would I rather win FPL or Chelsea win the league, or Chelsea win the Champions League? And I've been fortunate enough to see both of those things. But to win the treble, I think I'd tell Chelsea to win the treble. Yeah. The treble, could you imagine? Yeah, the treble. If I had Slot, would I sell and to who or keep? So going back to assistant managers, I would sell Slot and Emery. I wouldn't sell either for a hit. I would only sell them if I'm going to a table bonus. If I was going to a table bonus team, and if I was chasing rank, probably, and I would go to the Crystal Palace manager. Simon, thank you very much for joining. Drop me a message on Twitter or something, and I will get you added to all of the things as a GOAT tier member. I appreciate it. Yeah. Thank you very much. Welcome. City fallen off since winning the treble. Yeah, but they won the treble. You take it, right? You winning. If it was Chelsea winning the league or me winning FPL, I'd take me winning FPL. But it's also because I have seen Chelsea win the league several times in my lifetime, and I've also been to watch Chelsea win the Champions League in person. So there's not that much that you could offer me as a Chelsea fan that I haven't already seen, but the treble all in 1 year would be mental. Yeah. Sell Slot, Rodgers or roll. Rodgers to Kluivert or roll probably. Chelsea will never win the treble. Yeah, quite probably. I would say any team winning the treble is pretty slim. There's probably only going to be one or maybe two teams who win the treble again in my lifetime. It's probably a reasonable statement. So Chelsea winning the treble is very unlikely. Yeah. Your 50k, 2 free transfers, you own Slot, want to move him, but for who? It would be Glasner. It's in my top tip section. I'd go Glasner first, probably, and then probably Van Nistelrooy. If you're chasing rank. Assistant manager is active for 3 weeks. You cannot turn it off, and you cannot play another chip while it's active. Luis Diaz or Gordon? I'd play Luis Diaz against Man City. Dango for captain? No. No. I think Kluivert's fourth in my captain ranking, but he is on penalties. So no. No. You've got both Ahmad and Gakpo. Only one free transfer. Do I take a hit, and for who? If you can just bench Gakpo and do Ahmad to Kluivert, that's probably what I would do. Rodgers to Kluivert or Ranieri. If you don't have Kluivert, Kluivert should be the biggest priority there. Yeah. You have Gakpo, 0.4 million in the bank. What's your opinion? It would be Cunha. Any strikers other than Cunha? Marmoush. You could still go Risa. There's a little bit of a shortage. Better if you need a cheap one. Chris Wood if you don't own. But yeah, Chris Wood I'd play over Ranieri probably. Kluivert as captain, he's 4th in my ranking, I think. I personally wouldn't do it. I don't see a reason to captain Kluivert against an improving Wolves team over Mo Salah. I think captaincies are quite dry this week. There's not loads of them. Hall or Mikalenko? Mikalenko over Lewis Hall. If you have Pickford, then maybe not. Like maybe you don't want to double up on Everton, in which case I'd probably go Lewis Hall. But in the face of it, I'd play Mikalenko over Lewis Hall. Would I buy Arteta or Iriola for Slot? I wouldn't buy either. Would not sell Emery or Slot for a non-table bonus manager. When should you play your assistant manager? 31 on Eddie Howe is going to be the next most popular for anyone who's got it left. Please explain why I chose Watkins over Cunha. It seems like such an easy pick, but you went with Watkins. Because I went with Watkins last week. I went with Watkins for the double. Whereas Cunha had, Liverpool away, Bournemouth away before his good fixtures. So I just took Watkins with the double. If I was never going to buy Cunha next week, there was a possibility if I wanted to play the assistant manager on Slot that I could have done Gakpo to Cunha and assistant manager on Slot, but I wasn't going to just buy Cunha for the sake of it, but I would have done it if it gave me the assistant manager, which once the double was announced for 32, me buying Cunha was off the table because I wasn't going to play the assistant manager. What I think about getting Mitoma, I think he's a decent option. I do think there's times in the season where we constantly talk about Mitoma as an option, and I feel like it never really works out, which is always in the back of my mind on someone like a Mitoma or a Minte or a João Pedro. Like, when was the last time we held a Brighton player? And generally, put it in the chat, when was the last time we owned a Brighton player for more than 5 weeks and were happy with the longevity of it? I don't know. Maybe there was an Estupiñán time, but it doesn't feel like it's been a while. Am I ruling out Cunha for yourself then if you're going Watkins to Haaland? I'd be surprised if I go to Cunha with my team, yeah. I'd be surprised. Why free hit 34 and not 29? So one of the things is Game week 34, and so game week 33 is predicted to be a double, and game week 34 is the blank, but it's meant to be the same teams who blank and double. So getting from 33 with lots of doublers to 34 with lots of blankers is quite a difficult thing to do. I also don't have that many players who blank in game week 29. The other thing is, a lot of the players you want on the free hit in game week 29 have a good fixture in game week 30. So like if you're free hitting triple Man City at home to Brighton in game week 29, and then owning none of them for Leicester at home in game week 30, it doesn't really make sense to me. Like, why would I free hit like all of that City in for Brighton at home, who are now playing quite well, and then not own them a week later for probably the easiest game they have left this season? Am I likely to sell Palmer after game week 28? If I go Haaland, Palmer will be the one that makes way. If I go Marmoush, I'll keep Palmer. So it's kind of, it looks something like this. Let me show you. Let me zoom out here. Yeah, so those asking about my plans for Haaland. So it's either Watkins to Marmoush, which I can of course do, or it's Watkins to Haaland. In which case Palmer is the obvious make way. And in that bracket, I've got 5.5. It may be less, it may be more by that time. It depends what I do with Trent. Because I'm probably looking at something like this for game week 29. Semenyo. I'm probably looking at Kirkes. Which leaves me 7.3 for that final midfielder. I think I looked. I can afford Savinho if I wanted it. 7.3. Like, I could get exactly to Bowen. If Bowen was predicted to double in 33, then that could be something that I look at. But I'm probably looking at something like that for game week 29. That will be Kirkes in for Trent, be keeping Munoz, it'd be Semenyo in for Ahmad, and then Palmer and Watkins out. Saka is on the way back, but not before the end of March. Again, if he's not predicted, he's not going to double in game week 33. He's probably not one that's going to fall on my radar. apologies. So, wildcard 31, Ahmad to Wanyeri, Ahmad to Dango, or Ahmad slot to Kluivert, Glasner. All. Now, I have said constantly that the manager transfer is not worth a hit. But in this case, I think it's worth a hit. But in this case, it is. I would do Ahmad slot to Kluivert, Glasner. I just think slot to Glasner is okay, but I think Kluivert is just better than Dango, and I think he's just better than Wanyeri. And you'll just have it, like, if you get to 30 and you're not wildcarding until 31 or 32, and you've gone Dango, you'll just have the headache. So maybe my caveat of I wouldn't sell the manager for a hit unless it gives you money for another transfer is probably a better answer to that question. Aggressive 1 week punt on Minte. I wouldn't. How often do 1 week punts often actually that work in FPL? Like how often? Sorry, let me put it in subscriber only mode. We literally will have had to subscribe for 1 minute to get the stream going again. There we go. So drop a subscribe if you haven't already, and like the stream if you haven't already as well. Thank you. Guardiola and Trent both struggle to defend. They are both good at attack, and they play against each other this week. Surely they both score for me. I would be surprised. You may well get an attacking return from one of the two of them. I think Trent has 2 goals in 8 appearances against City. I don't know what Guardiola's record is like. Palmer cap against Villa high line. He's due a haul. I mean, Chelsea look a bit rubbish at the moment, so I probably wouldn't do that. Start Dango or Risa. That's really tough. Probably Risa against Leicester. It might depend if you've got Mbeumo and Kluivert. If you've got Mbeumo and Kluivert, I'd go Visa over Dango. But if you don't have both of those, I'd probably go 1 Bournemouth, 1 Brentford. Visa, Cunha or Mateta, or hold Gakpo. It depends on your chip strategy. I wouldn't buy Visa. Mateta if you're free hit 29. Cunha if you're not free hit 29. There's a lot of if, buts and maybes now with like Palace and Liverpool. You should be steaming into if you haven't already if you're free hit 29. If you're not free hit 29, then they're sells. It's either buy if you're free at 29 or sell them if you're not, basically. Apologies, let me put my team back up on screen. Who to start? Bednarek over Hall. No, I'd play Lewis Hall. That's probably one of the more interesting benching rankings I've been asked in a while. Never thought I'd go Bednarek in there. Assistant manager 25. Would I go Postecoglou? Ipswich this week and then 2 potential bonus next 2 weeks. Oh, if you're playing it this week, who do they play in 28? Issue is I don't think Spurs win that many games of football. Spurs at home to Bournemouth. Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good. The WhatsApp group is for mid-tier plus members. And if you've joined that and you're not in it, drop me a message on Instagram or Twitter and I will get you added as soon as I can. Play Milenkovic or Castagna? Milenkovic or Castagna? Probably Castagna. Every time I bench Mykolenko, he gets a return. You sure you want to start Munoz over him? Well, at least I've got Pickford. So if he gets a return, I mean, I don't think Mykolenko's had an attacking return all season. So I don't think... Oh, he has. He got an assist. Oh, yeah, I benched him. I benched him for that. He got his 11 points against Wolves. I benched him. I started him away at United. He got -1. And I benched him for West Ham away, Brentford at home, Wolves, Arsenal, and got him off my bench, but I still benched him for Chelsea. Yeah, my relationship with Mykolenko is great. He has 1 assist this season. I benched him for it. And I wildcarded him in about game week 6. Yeah. Against United, where Onana can't defend, yeah, he'll score. Yeah, maybe. But I've got Pickford. And there's so many people going with Munoz that I am... sorry, so many people going with Glasner that I'm definitely going to start Munoz. At least I have a little bit of Crystal Palace in my team to try and... I'm not sure Munoz quite covers Glasner, but at least if he keeps a clean sheet and Glasner does even better, then yeah, that's fine. Like if I lose my Munoz clean sheet, at least Glasner loses his, right? Keep Gakpo or sell to Cunha. Keep Gakpo or sell to Cunha. I'd probably sell him. I think realistically you may get one start in the next 3. I think you may, one start in the next 3 would be the worst case scenario. I think 2 would be the best. So yeah. If I told you that Gakpo started 2 of the next 3 only and missed 1, and I didn't tell you which they were, would you keep him? Probably not. You probably wouldn't. Like if I told you he started City, Newcastle and didn't start Southampton, or he didn't start this week and started Newcastle, Southampton, you probably wouldn't keep him. So I'd sell him. Which 2 would I start from Wood, Rodgers, Cunha? That is a good one. Wood, Cunha over Wood, Wood over Rodgers. So Rodgers is the one I'd bench. He's also the one not on penalties as well. -4 Emery to Glasner. Okay, you still have Gakpo. Do I play Gakpo on -8 and swap him out? Otherwise, if I play Gakpo, Enzo. If you've got any money, can you do Enzo to a Bournemouth midfielder? I would say that's a bigger upgrade than Gakpo to Cunha this week. If not, I would do a hit of Gakpo to Cunha, Julian. Yep. Start Sarr or Rodgers. I'd start Rodgers. Slot to Arteta for free. No, I wouldn't do slot to Arteta for free. No. Eze to Cliver, -4. You have Dango. Eze is back, but blanks. If you're free hit 29, then no. If you are not free hitting 29, I'd do that transfer, for free. Arteta or Glasner. Glasner is my #1 ranked. I wouldn't be using a transfer on an assistant manager to buy Arteta. What's the best case scenario? Let's say they win 2-0, 6, 8, 10, right? Let's say slot draws. 3, you're probably going to expect a couple of goals. That's 5. Probably the best case scenario is that you get a 5-point gain for a hit. There's no way it's worth a hit, and I don't think it's even worth... that's not even... if it forces a hit at any point between now and the end of the season, because you can roll your transfers forever... a 3 wildcard and everything, I just don't think that's worth it. So no. Ryan, I do apologise. Let me take a look. 0.7 in the bank, 2 free transfers, no triple captain or wildcard. You need to replace Gakpo and Sarr for who? Also, Bournemouth defender for Greaves. No triple captain or wildcard. Need to replace Gakpo and Sarr for who? Okay. Sarr to a Bournemouth midfielder, definitely. Semenyo, if you've already got Kluivert, if not Kluivert, and Gakpo probably to Cunha, although Marmoush would be tempting if you're not got a wild card left. He's probably slightly better long term, and the minutes look pretty good for him. Ahmad to Dango or Wanyeri, already got Kluivert or Kirkes. Also Emery, what do I suggest? Do I take a -4? I wouldn't sell Emery for a hit, so no, keep Emery. Dango or Wanyeri. I don't mind Dango. Dango doesn't fit well into my plans. Sorry, it's just running up and down the halls. It's chaos. It's chaos. One sec. It's absolutely chaos. What was the question I was answering? Oh, the reason I don't like Dango is because Evan Nilsson might be back by 30. So if that's the case and you're not... that's not the case. That's an issue for Dango. If you're going to wildcard 30 to 31, then I'd go Dango over Wanyeri, probably. I'd still do that regardless. That sounds like dinner. The hotel stream. So I'm in a hotel. And if anyone who knows the school holidays will know that I'm in a hotel in half term. So there are loads of kids. And they are just charging around everywhere. And they'll be knocking on everyone's doors like kids do. And trying to record a video. And someone said in my video the other day, Harry, you spoke so fast. Yeah, that was because I was trying to record it really quickly and get it done before it happened again. Dango or Diaz? If I had to play one, I'd play Dango. Would I start both Mykolenko and Pickford, or just Pickford and start João Pedro instead of Mykolenko? Would I play Mykolenko or João Pedro? If you've got Pickford, I'd probably chance João Pedro, even if he gets something off the bench. Start Rodgers or Nwaneri. Nwaneri not included in the bench ranking. Probably Nwaneri over Rodgers. Probably, yeah. Is -4 to Beto worth it? I would say no. Why are people choosing Glasner over McKenna? I think people trust... I think people trust Crystal Palace more than they trust Ipswich. Don't worry about the kids' noise on the video. It adds the entertainment. Well, I'm glad. Glad it adds to my stress levels. That helps. I can't tell. Is my t-shirt... I don't know. We're all going on in this stream. I look forward to our stream on Tuesday where everything is a little bit back to normal and calmer. When am I free hitting? Game week 34. Almost certainly game week 34. I'd be surprised if it's not. Why Visa over Chris Wood? I mean, if you've got Visa for Leicester fixture, you've got to play them. Kids don't know the pain of going through a deadline stream. Nuclear, you're exactly right. If only they knew what they were interrupting, eh? Fernandez or Chris Woods? Chris Woods. I think Fernandez will be playing back in central midfield as well. Who to play? Konate. Who to buy in for Konate? You got 5.7. Probably a Bournemouth defender if you don't have one. Or maybe 8 Nori, but that probably doesn't work until next week. Or... yeah, it's probably that. Why Munoz over Mykolenko? So I've already got Pickford, and most people do. I just think Munoz's attacking threat is really good as well. Hertzler or Glasner for the next 2. Or keep Slot. For the next 2, I'd go Glasner. I'd go Palace for the next 2 and hope you get 2 bonus games. Hope the Villa game is also bonus. Because if Spurs win, it's possible that Palace have bonus again, regardless of their result. Because if Spurs win, Palace don't actually change position in the table. João Pedro to Visa for a -4. Have Cunha, Hall, bench. No, I would not do João Pedro to Visa to bench Cunha. I'd just bench João Pedro and play Cunha probably. Oh, people asking about Nkunku. It is a strong no. Odegaard or Trossard. If I had to buy one of them, it'd be Trossard. Probably best long term there. Gakpo to Cunha or Ahmad to Kluivert. You've already got Dango. Kluivert, definitely. Where would I place Luis Diaz in my benching ranking? Probably just below Chris Wood. Probably. Let me... oh, no. Can't even... Wood... Rodgers, yeah. Probably there. Probably Luis Diaz over Rodgers if I had that decision. No news... oh, sorry. Right. Start Rodgers or Kirkes. Rodgers, I'd play the attacker. Want to sell Ahmad, you already have Kluivert. Buy Semenyo, Matoma or Rodgers. Definitely don't buy Rodgers. I'd probably go Semenyo. Can't decide if I should get rid of Gakpo this week or just play Rodgers and keep Gakpo until game week 29. Don't fancy Cunha versus Bournemouth. Help. If you don't fancy Cunha versus Bournemouth, then don't buy him. Because Cunha is probably the best long-term replacement in that position anyway. So if you don't like it, don't buy him. Slot to Glasner or Bruno to Mbermo. 1 transfer left. I'd get rid of Bruno. I feel like it's more important. Yeah. Nwaneri or Trossard. I'd probably just take the cheapest option and go Nwaneri. And if it all goes wrong, you can put him on your bench. You're in the top 4K. How do I know which assistant manager is a threat? I check live FPL after the deadline, and they will have the ownership of all the players, and it will include managers as well. When to free hit? When you only have wildcard, free hit, bench boost left. So you're probably going to wildcard 31, 32, bench boost 33, free hit 34 is probably the most likely scenario for you. Play Hall or Castagna. I don't love Castagna's attacking threat. So Robinson over Hall, but Hall over Castagna probably. Will I start Raul over Rodgers? Yes. Penalty takers always get an extra bonus in my mind. Is Marmoush worth it? I prefer Cunha, but I don't mind Marmoush. I think some of the upcoming fixtures are good, and I think by game week 29 he'll be really popular. Quiz member, absolutely. If you haven't dropped a like on the stream, please do. Subscribe if you are new. We are 200 likes away from 1,000, and there are almost 5,000 of you in the stream who haven't liked as well. So if you could drop a like, that would be great. Are you saving transfers since Ahmad is still in your team? And if so, what's the plan? Yeah, I mean, I don't need the Ahmad replacement this week. The price change on Ahmad doesn't impact it because when he drops, when Ahmad drops, it doesn't impact my selling price. The replacement doesn't get in my team, so I'm just going to wait for more info. Like, let's say, I don't know, someone got injured this weekend and it would change who I was going to buy or something. Like, I don't need to force that transfer. Would I transfer FPL Harry to FPL Raptor for a -4? Almost definitely. Almost definitely. Yeah. I say not many things are worth a -4, but that definitely is. Is Captain and Burma and playing Flecken over Raya a good move? I would play Raya over Flecken. But I don't mind the captain on Burma. He's probably second in my ranking, but I can't see a reason not to captain Salah. Yeah. Start Raul or Semenyo. Play Raul, probably. Play Jimenez. Third week of assistant manager, so I swap slot to Arteta or Glasner. I wouldn't swap it to Arteta, so it's either keeping it on Arnie slot or moving it to Glasner. Can I briefly remind us of our chip strategy? When am I playing assistant manager? Yeah, so my chip strategy is assistant manager 31 to 33, free hit 34, wildcard probably 35, and bench boost at some point in those last few weeks as well. We need 3 likes for 1,000. Thank you all very much. Happy Friday, everyone. Joe, I feel like I just looked at it. Yeah, I'd start Raul over Semenyo. Watkins, I wouldn't buy. If you're going to buy Watkins, you would have bought him for the double. Yeah. Free hit 15 and wildcard 20. Assistant manager on slot. What would I suggest to navigate now between 34 without free hit and wildcard? Okay, well, you just got to target the teams that play in all the games that don't have blanks and try and get a couple of doublers, the most important ones, but you've got to focus on having blankers, people who play in the blanks as well. So, like, Chelsea, like Palmer's going to be pretty important to you probably. Not using transfers on anything that isn't essential, basically. Rogers to Dango and slot to Glasner. Good luck, 30 months and counting. Rory, you legend, thank you very much. I appreciate it, and good luck with those transfers. Dango's ownership is getting upwards. Nicholas, thank you for joining as a base tier member. Welcome. You'll get your name highlighted in chat and all the emojis. Who to start from João Pedro, Rogers, Munoz, and Mikalenko? Probably Rogers. I'd play the attacker. Did Gakpo to Visa? Should I do Visa to Cunha? No, not this week. Maybe it's something you consider in a few weeks, but Visa's got Leicester. I'm interested to see I'm interested to see the EO on managers this week. Ross is hard selling Dango transfer. That's because he bought him, didn't he? Of course he's going to. He's going to try and give himself confirmation bias. We know the psychologist that Ross is. He's trying to give himself confirmation bias that he made a good transfer. No, I don't mind Dango. I would just be a little bit concerned about game week 30, depending on when you're wildcarding. That's the only thing with Dango. If you're going to wildcard 31, 32, you might not have him up front, but he should start games. Is the only thing. Yeah, I've seen Sharda being mentioned in quite a few questions, actually. Because his away record is pretty good. That's Damsgaard. That's not Sharda. There we go. 9 away at West Ham, 11 away at Palace, 8 away at Southampton, 3 away at Brighton, 3 away at Chelsea, 5 away at Villa. It's pretty good. Is he nailed? Is he playing? He's playing a lot of minutes. Interesting. Shard is an interesting one. I still don't think I'd do it. Like, I'd still go to the Bournemouth midfielders over him, personally. Best Rodgers replacement, you have 8.2. Cliver or Mbeumo probably. Ndai or Diaz out, and for who 2.1 in the bank. Ndai is a bigger sell, I'd say. And to a Bournemouth midfielder would be my preference. If fit, how many minutes is Gakpo getting? If he's available, he's playing 70 probably. If he's available, he'll start. Probably. I'd be surprised if he's on the bench. Start one of Pickford, Henderson, Mikalenko, Castagna. That's away at Fulham. Probably double Everton, to be honest. I'd probably go Pickford, Mikalenko there. Am I intending to free hit in 29? No, I will free hit 34. I will sell Ahmad. I will sell Watkins. I will sell one of Trent or Munoz and maybe Palmer with my transfers between now and the blank in 29. But no, not planning on free hitting in 29. I don't think it's strong enough, personally. And the other thing I've said is, buy Hertzler, maybe bonus against Bournemouth too. Yes, but I think I'd rather go Glasner, because Glasner also might have table bonus next week, and that'd be 2 for table bonus. Yeah, the other thing I was saying on why I don't like free hit 29 is the fixture that City have in game week 30. So if you free hit 29, what, you're going to free hit Haaland in, Marmoush in, Gvardiol in for Brighton at home, and then in game week 30 you're not going to win any of them for Leicester at home. Yeah, I don't like that. That's part of my issue. That's part of my issue. Why did the game week 32 double put me off Cunha? So the transfer that I'd considered was Cunha in for Gakpo to assistant manager on Arnie's slot. But once the game week 32 double was announced before the deadline, I knew I was not going to assistant manager. So I didn't need to free up the money to play the assistant manager, which made Gakpo to Cunha. I needed to do Gakpo out to someone cheaper to a forward slot and get the Liverpool spot available. But once that was not needed and I didn't need the Liverpool spot for slot and I didn't need the money, either I kept Gakpo and just used the Liverpool spot, or I went to Watkins, which is what I ended up doing. So that was the chain reaction of the double in 32 changing my transfers. Who do I get? Need to sell Gakpo and Ahmad. Same team as you, but no Watkins. Okay, or do I just sell Gakpo? Harwood Bellis. If you can just bench Harwood Bellis, I just bench him. Gakpo, my favourite replacements are Cunha and Marmoush, and Ahmad is a Bournemouth midfielder. Depending on when you're wildcarding, Kluivert, and then either Semenyo or Dango Ouattara. Have Emery, would I swap to Van Nistelrooy? I'd only sell if it's for free, and I'd only sell if you're chasing rank as well. Any plans to transfer Ahmad out this game week? No, I'm just going to keep Ahmad this week and probably go Semenyo is probably the plan. Emery to Arteta or Glasner, one free transfer. I wouldn't go Arteta. I wouldn't do Slot or Emery out to Arteta. I don't think it's worth the transfer. Bench one of Palmer, Kluivert, Dango, Mateta or Chris Wood. Probably Chris Wood. Hate to say it. Probably away at Newcastle. Probably. If you don't want that, then it's one of the two Bournemouth midfielders and you just hedge your bets a little bit. But yeah. How crucial is it to own Trent? I mean, if you haven't owned Trent through both doubles, he's got a blanking game at 29, so now is probably not the time to buy him unless you're going to free hit in 29. Bring in Marmoush or Cunha. I personally prefer Cunha, personally. Feels mad going triple Bournemouth, but you're following Harry. I mean, I probably will end up on triple Bournemouth because of my strategy. Very high chance that they double in game week 33. And the fixtures between now and then are are really solid. I might hold. The issue is Ahmad's going to drop and Semenyo's probably going to rise. I would ideally like to wait until after the FA Cup, which is not until before game week 28, which is a slight shame. That's realistically when I'd like to wait for to make sure that Bournemouth and Man United are likely to double in 33, in which case, like, Semenyo is definitely the right buy. But I'll probably end up having to go early. I could just wait as well because I'll probably make another transfer which frees up the money, right? Like Trent will probably go. Like Watkins will go. Like I could end up holding Ahmad until 29 or until 28 probably, maybe even 29, and just take the 0.1 value because he's probably not going to drop more than 3 times between now and the FA Cup, which is in a week, right? If he drops more than 3 times in a week, I'd be very surprised with what we've seen as well with the lack of price changes this week. So I might just do that and just wait until after the FA Cup and then see what I want to do. Is selling Isak a potential move? No, because the double in 32, I'm not going to sell him and buy him back. So no. Glasner is my favourite assistant manager, yeah. Welbeck next 4, yeah, I don't mind it. I don't love the Welbeck pick, but they've been quite good. It's just probably not where I'd go. But the fixtures are okay. It's just not very exciting is basically where I'm at. But it's a great entry point against Southampton, right? Where are we? Welbeck. 8 against Chelsea. Pretty poor before that. Fixtures coming up are okay. Like Bournemouth, Fulham, City away. Like they're playing 34. They're also unlikely to blank in Dublin. I probably wouldn't go Welbeck. Just doesn't fill me with much excitement. No upcoming doubles. Fixtures are okay, but they're only really for this week. And the returns have not been good enough. The difference between him and someone like a Mitoma, who's also not that, like, I'm not that excited by that either. But at least their returns have been there a bit more. You've just done Ahmad to Kluivert. Listen, if I didn't have Kluivert, I would have done Ahmad to Kluivert without even thinking about it. Am I playing any chips this week? No, I'm not. Sell Gakpo to Cunha or Visa or Marmoush. Sell Ahmad to Wanyeri or roll Ahmad. So Gakpo to Cunha or Visa or Marmoush. Sell Ahmad to Wanyeri or roll Ahmad. Already have Kluivert. I'd probably just sell Gakpo to Cunha. Probably what I'd do. No chips this week. Castagna or Anderson. If you're looking to buy Anderson because Kenny Tete won't be out for that much longer. But if you're starting one, then I'd start Castagna. Ranieri or Chris Woods, probably would go Chris Woods. I'd play the penalty taker out of the two. What's the thinking behind Munoz above Lewis Hall in the benching ranking? His attacking threat is just crazy high. Yeah, basically. Am I rolling this week? Yes, rolling my transfer. Yeah. Yeah, we have just under half an hour to go until the deadline. That guy who got Marmoush off my bench just messaged me saying, surely you've got to buy Marmoush this week. Someone had auto sub Marmoush in for Gakpo in the double. Outrageous. Outrageous. Look at all these Glasner. Look at all these Glasner. Everyone's gone Glasner. I really need Fulham to win. Oh, it's going to be big. That Fulham game, I never thought I'd care so much about Fulham Crystal Palace. I'm going to be on my way to the airport, I think. What time is that game? I'll probably be just arriving at the airport as it kicks off. I'm going to be sat stressing at the airport. Emery, Glasner, Gakpo to Cunha -4. I wouldn't do Glasner for a hit. Start Castagna or transfer Ahmad to Semenyo or Mitoma for free. We have Kluivert. I probably would buy Semenyo over Mitoma. And I'd sell Ahmad. You're going to have to sell him anyway. Yeah, my team's locked. Like, I'm not making a transfer. Sorry, Gvardiol or Robinson. Sells to Pickford for free. No, I don't think I'd do that. No. Help me start to Robinson, Trent, Howson. Probably Trent Robinson. Clean sheets. If you look at Rob T FPL's projections for the week. Oh. No one hits the 40% like clean sheet mark that we want, apart from Arsenal. So I would just play, in terms of defender, I just play the one you think's got most attacking threat, unless it's Arsenal. But everyone's playing Gabriel regardless. Play Mikalenko or Castagna. Like Everton's clean sheet odds are no different to Fulham's really. If you've got Pickford, I'd probably play Castagna. I don't think there's much in it between those, but probably Mikalenko over Castagna. Cunha to Gakpo for -4, or bench Cunha for Rodgers. I wouldn't sell Cunha. I just play Rodgers. I wouldn't sell Cunha for Gakpo for a hit probably. Why not Dango instead of Semenyo? For me, because I'm going to wildcard late, it does make sense for me to go Dango because Evan Nilsson will probably be back by the time I really need Dango. So Semenyo makes more sense. If you're going to wildcard 31 or 30, then I'd go Dango. So yes, Dango over Semenyo, unless you're late wildcarding like me, in which case Semenyo is above him. That's probably why I'll go Semenyo. Take a hit to bring on Gabriel over Hall or Greaves. If you're not free hitting 29, I would do that, yeah, just because you're going to benefit from the extra fixture in game week 29 as well. Play Watkins or Wood. Watkins at home to Chelsea. Start Wood or Rodgers. Wood over Rodgers. Moving slot -4 is worth it to another manager. Personally, I don't think it is. What's the most likely best case scenario? Okay, slot draws with City and like Glasner. Like, okay, yeah, he wins and then it pays off. But if you want to take the gamble, you can. Of course, it's your own teams. Manage them and do the transfers for the manager that you'd wish. But if it was me, I wouldn't sell slot for a hit. Replacement for Gakpo, Cunha or Marmoush are my top two. Cunha or Marmoush are my top two. Bench Palmer or Murphy. I'd bench Murphy. Am I playing manager chip this week? No. I don't. No, I'm not playing my manager. I'll play it in 31. Chip strategy is no chips until 31, when I'll probably play the assistant manager. Depending on if we get any doubles announced. Could be a shock change in a wildcard 31, bench boost 33. It's possible depending on where the doubles go. But I'll probably assist a manager 31 to 33. No one is talking about Gakpo. Hold, sell, worth a -4. No one's talking about Gakpo, yeah. I probably wouldn't do it for -4, but if it benefits, if you're going to have to take a hit by 29 anyway, then yeah, I would do it. Palmer captain overlooked. Villa have defensive issues and Disasi can't play. Chelsea had a week's rest too. Yeah, but I just feel Chelsea look all over the place. I don't feel like there's anyone in that Chelsea team who's really going to help Palmer out. I just would captain Salah, personally. Yeah, it is possible if Newcastle double, look like they're going to double in 33, I can't see a world in which I don't assistant manager Eddie Howe 31 to 33. If the double is someone else, then maybe I change my mind. But if they go Leicester away, United at home, Palace at home, Villa away, Ipswich at home, I'd take that run of fixtures. The only really tough games, I mean, United and Palace are not easy. Villa away, not easy. But that's 2 transfers I saved, not having to move my assistant manager at all. If this is a double in 33 rather than it being in 34, which requires Newcastle to stay in the FA Cup, then yeah, I can't see a world in which I don't do it. Even if that double is someone else and I get like Newcastle, United at home, Palace at home, Leicester away, and then I move it in game week 33 to someone else, I probably would do that. Pickford or Kepa? Pickford's over Kepa probably. Is Welbeck an option? It just doesn't excite me at all. Like, he is an option, yeah, but it's probably not one I'd recommend. Probably not one I'd recommend. Enzo to Dango or Pedro to Vissa? If you're wildcard 31, then the Dango move, if not Wissa. What manager did I get? I'm not on assistant manager this week. So yeah, I'd buy Glasner if I was on looking for a manager this week though. Will I do Ahmad for Dango next week? If you did it this week, who would I start Dango over? I don't think I'll buy Dango. I think it'll be more likely I buy Semenyo now. Who would I start him over? Either Chris Wood or I just bench Dango. Probably Chris Wood. Would I start João Pedro or Sarr? I'd probably take the chance that João Pedro starts, although I don't think he will. I'd probably be looking to sell one of them if you can. I'd rather do Sarr to like a Bournemouth midfielder probably than play either of those. Is Game Week 29 wildcard a thing? It's not unless you fit. I know James from Planet FPL has spoken about wildcard 29. That's because he doesn't have the free hit, and so it can help you navigate all of the rest of what's going to happen. But unless you're in a specific scenario, I don't think it's a good move. Start Wood or Cunha. Cunha over Chris Wood, yeah. Diaz and Pedro from Burma and Cunha -4. I'm not sure. Pedro to Cunha for a hit. I don't really like those -4s. Diaz and Pedro to Burma and Cunha for a hit. No. Semenyo or Palmer? Palmer. There's no world in which I recommend benching Cole Palmer this week, even for someone like Semenyo. Yeah. Just play Cole Palmer. Villa have been a lot worse when they've had to play midweek, weekend, etc., etc. Especially when it's a tiring game. Slot to Glasner for free. Yeah, I don't mind it for free. If it doesn't force a hit this week or in future weeks, then yes. The thing is with slot to Glasner, right? Chances are a lot of us will take a hit between now and the end of the season. So that slot to Glasner move is effectively a hit. Because you can roll all your transfers. You could roll the transfer through the wildcard, through the free hit. So if you get to game week 37 and you take a -4, the slot to Glasner move is effectively forcing that. Because if you didn't do it, in game week 37, you'd have a free transfer to do that move with. So I'm a bit reluctant, but I probably would do it for free now and just hope you get the points, and then you can cross game week 37 when we get to it, as an example. Trent or Kirkes? I'd play Trent, but it's pretty close. I think. I'm just not sure you ever bench Trent. Oh, Trent or Kirkes? Actually, is Kirkes about the only defender I'd play over Trent? Maybe I'd do Trent over Kirkes. Colonel Kirkes. I probably would go Kirkes over Trent, but it's close. I do Trent over most, but maybe Kirkes isn't one of them. Start with Bruggen or Pickford's. Pickford, I think. Should I sell Gakpo for free to Cunha or just play Rodgers? I probably would do the transfer. Dango, Chris Wood, Palmer, Cunha. Drop one of them. Probably Chris Wood. Yeah. Unfortunately, probably is Chris Wood. Away at Newcastle is not an easy game. I know he scored a hat-trick there last year, but thoughts on Wanyeri, captain? I mean, he's a differential enough just owning him, so no, I wouldn't put the Kamsi armband on him. It is an okay week to go for a differential captain, but yeah. I wouldn't advise a Wanyeri captain. Visa for the differential captain. A few differential captain shouts going in the chat. I wouldn't do Visa either, I don't think. Worth selling Ahmad. If you need a midfielder this week, then definitely, but I don't need to this week, so I'm just going to hold on to him. I might start him. A little bit of benching so and so. What's my plan with Ahmad? Yeah, probably just I'll probably sell him at some point. I just don't know when I'm going to sell him because I realistically want to wait until after the FA Cup. So I probably won't sell him until game week 28. He'll probably sit on my bench for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 26, 27. He'll probably sit on my bench. And I'll wait until 28 to sell him. Bench Rodgers or Visa. I definitely play Visa against Leicester. Because like my team next week, right? Oh. Let me get it up. So, oh, wrong button. So, no ads, please. My team for next week. Sorry, one sec. Why is my lighting better when I'm not at home? Sorry. This is my team for next week. Like, realistically, who am I benching? Ahmad would play if he had Ipswich. And that was actually the plan, to play him over Chris Wood. But if I did Ahmad to Semenyo away at Brighton, who am I benching? I'm probably benching Semenyo away at Brighton. Like, the replacement probably doesn't get in my team. Like, who would I buy next week that's a massive upgrade on my starting 11 again? In game week 27. Like, who am I buying here? Brighton, Bournemouth, no. Palace, Villa, no. Wolves, Fulham, probably not. Like, there as a midfielder as well. Chelsea, Southampton, no. Brentford, Everton, no. There's just nothing. And it's a midweek round of fixtures. So, yeah, I'll probably not sell him until game week 28 after the FA Cup. Marmoush, Isak and Kluivert as differential captain. Not Marmoush. One of the two on pens if you really need one. Isak or Kluivert. Probably Kluivert, to be honest. No, probably Isak. Kluivert as a midfielder though. Extra point. Probably Kluivert. Did I use my assistant manager or when am I using it? Haven't used my assistant manager. Plan on using it in game week 31. No chip for me this week. No. Start Konate or Castagna. Probably Konate against that City defence. And just hope he scores. Yeah, it's close though. As a Chelsea fan, I think Palmer hauls this time. Let's hope. Does it make sense to get Glasner for slot? It means I have to take a -4, then no. Like, that's probably where I'm at. If it forces a -4 between now and game week 29, I've just got cramp in my leg. Ooh. Then no, I wouldn't. Oh, ow. Are we just keeping Chris Wood forever? I added the word Chris because that comment was a bit weird. Yep. Sorry, one sec. I got cramp and I have no space under this desk to stretch. I probably will keep Chris Wood until at least game week 30, 32 probably, maybe 30. It depends if I want to go and depends if I want to buy Mateta. I'm better now, thank you. Thank you all for your support. Peak fitness. It's because of all the skiing. And then I'm sat under a desk. It's probably not a good combination. I've drunk loads of water. That looks weird because it's got orange squash in it and it looks like I've just got a weird bottle next to me. But I have drunk all that today. Glasner would be my number one pick for assistant managers. Yes. I haven't used my assistant manager. I'm planning on playing it on Eddie Howe in game week 31 if Newcastle are playing well. Start Sarr or Smith Rowe. Probably Smith Rowe. Bench one, Rodgers, Cunha, Bruno, or Chris Wood. Rodgers, Cunha, Bruno. Probably Rodgers. Rodgers or Bruno. So, Not reading that out. I'm not reading that comment out. Palmer, Semenyo, Kluivert, Mateta, Cunha, drop 1. Semenyo probably, and not go double Bournemouth bids. Why Rodgers over Gordon? I just don't think Gordon's been that great, and it's not a great fixture. Prefer the Rodgers fixture than the Gordon fixture. I think it's, better that way around. Is it worth to sell Gordon and buy Kluivert? If you can do Gordon and Kluivert, I would, yeah. If you're not free hitting 29, then definitely. Crazy to bench Palmer over Visser. I mean, I'd play Palmer over Visser, but I don't think it's that crazy, but I would play Palmer. Why not captain Isak? Forest are so good defensively. I'm surprised loads of people consider captaining someone at home to Forest versus that Man City defence. If I'm honest. Like what? Salah up against Gvardiol? I think we all saw when a world-class winger plays up against Gvardiol what the potential outcome can be. We all saw that on Wednesday night. Bring in Kluivert or Wanyeri when you have Semenyo. Still Kluivert. Definitely Kluivert. Emery to Glasner for a hit? No. I just don't think it's worth a hit, even if you're 50 points behind your rival. Will I go back 4 in Game Week 29 if I'm keeping both Salah and Isak? Yes, I probably will have to. Nuclear, I probably will. Yeah. Who's the best next assistant manager over the next 3? I probably would go Palace this week, next week, and then maybe reconsider the week after. But if you haven't activated your assistant manager yet, I wouldn't play it this week. I don't think Game Week 26 is a good week to play your assistant manager. You'll need the transfers as well at the moment. Emery for Glasner, not taking a hit. Yeah, for free. Yeah, that's fine. I said I'd do it for free, wouldn't do it for a hit. And if you're really chasing rank, then maybe. But yeah. Captain and Burmo or Isak. If I had to pick one, I'd go on Burmo. It is a Friday night captain though, so yeah. Is it worth playing Dango and Kluivert and benching Cunha? Dango versus Cunha is pretty close. I think I would go Cunha over Dango, though. I think I would do Cunha over Dango in that situation if you've got Kluivert. You have Rodgers and Gakpo. Worth Rodgers to Dango or Gakpo to Visser for a hit, or just start Rodgers? Not for a hit. I probably would just play Rodgers. Just play Rodgers. Do I think Marmoush is a similar buy to Cunha this week? Yes. The only issue with Marmoush is you might decide you want to go Haaland, and I don't think many of us have the space in our forward line for both of them. The issue is Cunha may also need to go to Haaland. I don't think there's that much in it, but I would probably go Cunha over Marmoush if I was buying this week. If I was buying, that's where I'd go, but I'm not buying this week. Play Gakpo or bench him to Hall. I'd probably play Gakpo. Gakpo or Lewis Hall. I'd probably play Gakpo and just hope he either starts or is not in the squad. It's probably quite likely. I don't see him being on the bench, probably. McKenna or Van Nistelrooy for table bonus. Hope your answer. I mean, my ranking is... Which way round did I put them? It's in the hot topic. Glasner 1, McKenna 2. Are my top 2. If you are looking for players to start or bench, I will point you back to the benching ranking, which is in the top right-hand corner of the screen now. Number 1 is the player to start. Number 17 is the bench, and you have the ranking in between. So Visser over Mateta, Mateta over Watkins, Watkins over Cunha, Cunha over Dango, Dango over Semenyo, Semenyo over Chris Wood over Rodgers, Rodgers over Kirkes over Trent, Trent over Gordon, Gordon over Munoz, Munoz over Robinson, Robinson over Howson, Howson over Mikalenko, Mikalenko over Lewis Hall, and Hall over Ola Aina. That will answer most of the benching options. Palmer is not in it because Palmer is an automatic start. Brian and Burmo is not in it because I would start both of them as well. Bruno Fernandes is not in it. I would probably put him just above between Rodgers and Wood. Luis Diaz, I'd probably put him in a similar place. And Wanyeri, I'd also put him in probably the same place. Why Munoz over Robinson? Just the attacking threat. I just think it's better for Munoz. I know Robinson has had great attacking returns, but I probably would do Munoz over Robinson. If you're going wildcard, whom are the players you're choosing? And free hit 29, what are the possible players? If I was wildcarding this week, I wouldn't wildcard this week to free hit 29. I don't like that at all. That doesn't set yourself up for the final few weeks very well. Yeah. So you'll start Trent ahead of Robinson if you're correct. Yes, exactly. So if we go back to that, Trent is 10, Robinson is 13. So Trent over Robinson. Like Gakpo or Rodgers, I'd play Rodgers. Gakpo and João Pedro are pretty low down. They're probably below all the attackers on there. What about Diaz? Diaz would go below Chris Wood. My Cunha for Gakpo for -4 hit or play Rodgers. Probably just play Rodgers. I don't think buying him away at Bournemouth is worth a hit, if I'm honest. Bench Foden or Chris Wood? Probably Chris Wood. Seven minutes. Sorry, that's what I was checking. 7 minutes to go until the deadline. Which are Robinson, Hall, and Kerkez? Robinson, Hall, and Kerkez. It's on the benching ranking, and Hall is at the bottom of those. Minte or Semenyo. Go Semenyo. We all know what happens when you bench Chris Wood. Yeah, I don't. Ownership's so high on him. What's the hotel like? It's nice actually. It has this like outdoor pool, which is why we chose it. Right in the middle of the town where everyone watches you. But it is quite nice after skiing. Where would I put Jimenez on the list? Probably above Rodgers. Probably similar place. Probably. There's a big gulf, I think, between Wood and Rodgers on that list. And a lot of the lower ownership players would probably fit in there. What striker should I pick? Free transfer. Cunha would probably be top one. We won't be doing Fantasy Challenge today once the stream ends. There's an hour time difference. So it is 7:30 here and I am absolutely starving. We're going out for our final meal. Nice little cheese fondue on the final night before we go home tomorrow. So there won't be. Once it hits 7:30, I'll probably wrap up the stream pretty quickly. Let me just make sure I've got a screenshot of my team. Would I play 2 Liverpool defenders and 1 City defender? Probably not. I'm surprised you've got all of them in your team, but no. Have I tried Raclette? I have. It's pretty close between the two. Pretty close. Pretty close. Play Rodgers or take a -4 for Wanyeri or Dango. I'd probably just play Rodgers. Don't think it's worth a hit. And Burmo captain. I mean, Salah is my recommendation. Anyone investing in Palace? Palace ownership is crazy high, but of course they blank in Game Week 29. There's a lot of assistant managers on Glasner. Glasner is my top priority. So we have 4 minutes to go to the deadline. Let me wrap up everything. If you're looking for players to bench, please look at the benching ranking now. Cole Palmer is not on it. Brian and Burmo are not on it because they are definite starts for me. Number 1 is the best. Number 17 is the worst. They are ranked in order. So as normal numbers go, the higher up the list they are, the more likely I am to start them. Yeah. Cunha or Rodgers. Cunha is higher up than Rodgers, so I play Cunha over Rodgers. Pickford I play over Fleck, and there's no goalkeepers in the ranking. Is Nkunku worth a punt? Probably not. In terms of assistant managers, I wouldn't move it for a hit. If you are chasing rank and you want to go Maverick, then fine, but I wouldn't move it for a hit. I wouldn't move it to a non-table bonus manager either. My recommendation for table bonus managers is 1, Glasner, 2, McKenna, and 3, Van Nistelrooy in that order. That is what we're looking at. Isak on the list. He's up there with Palmer. He's up there with Mbeumo. You don't bench Isak. You don't bench Palmer. And you don't bench Mbeumo in my eyes. Also, Kluivert's not on the list, right? Doesn't feel good benching Rodgers, but they've got the same age as you with Cunha, Wood, Isak. I probably would bench Rodgers then, yes. Wood or Semenyo, again, is answered by the ranking. Aina or Lewis Hall is also in the ranking. You have all the chips. What strategy should you do? Just save them all until game week 29 if you want a free hit. If not, after game week 29. Where would Ranieri go in the benching ranking? He would go just below Chris Wood. Luis Diaz would also go just below Chris Wood as well, but I'd play them both over Rodgers. as well. Do I expect an Everton clean sheet? I don't necessarily, which is why I'm happy to have one and bench Mikalenko, but I think there's an okay chance. Thoughts on João Pedro? I would look to probably bench him. I don't expect him to start. If you've got no cover, then I'm fine, you can play him, but I don't think he'll start. Gakpo, if you want to start him, I don't see him being on the bench, but it is possible. I'd probably look to do something and not have to play Gakpo this week, because I also don't think he'll probably play Southampton in game week 28. Where would I put Marmoush in the benching ranking? Probably similar, probably just below Chris Wood as well. There is a big gulf between Wood and Rodgers, and I think a lot of players fit into that gap. Get yourself to Folly Douche once again. Anyone who knows me, I'm not a big partier, drinker, any of that really. Just doesn't mix particularly well with me. Gakpo or Rodgers, I play Rodgers. Olaraina or Lewis Hall, that is all on that. Harry Start, Ahmad, yeah, I probably should. Oh well, I'm just going to leave it. Where am I skiing? I'm skiing in France, in the Three Valleys. And Burma or Clivert for Gordon in this week. I'm probably going to bring other one in 2 to 3 weeks. I'd go Clivert first, and you probably won't then go in Burma. We're into the final minutes before the deadline, so go and check your teams. We're going to stop answering all the questions there, because by the time I answer this and you hear this, the deadline may well be about to pass. So please go and check your teams, check your captains, check your managers, check your bench, check everything, click save, make sure it is all in place with a final minute before the deadline, and that will be all of the questions that we have answered. Please go and check your teams. We always finish the stream a minute before, so you don't miss locking in your last bits of... Is there plenty of snow? It's not bad. It's not bad. Go and check in your teams. Go and lock in everything. And that is going to be a wrap for game week 26. I can't wait to see the ownerships of some of those assistant managers this week and what games I need to be fearful of more than anyone. As I said, everyone, it is 7:30 here, an hour time difference. I am starving. I'm going out for dinner. Our dinner is at 7:30 booked, so we are already late. So I am going to wrap up the stream very quickly. I think Ross will probably stay around streaming for a little bit after, chatting as he does. So if you want a bit more content, go and head over to him or your other favorite streamers. Oscar will probably be live for a bit as well. Those two will always sort you out. On Tuesday, we'll be back. We'll have a nice longer stream. We'll be sticking around for a long time after, doing Fantasy Challenge. We'll be doing all of that. Much more. I appreciate you putting up with the content. I think there was one less video this week, but we did wait until after all of the games were finished, which was why, and I think I covered pretty much everything anyway. But yeah, I appreciate it. A slightly different week of content, Friday night deadline, which is good and bad for me. But yeah, thank you all. Good luck. I'll post a picture of my dinner, don't worry. I'm in France. I'm home tomorrow though, so don't worry. Stuff will be back, and the mic will be back in shot from Sunday even. Thank you all very much. Have a lovely week, and I will see you all very soon. Have a lovely weekend, I should say. Bye.